What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of Say It, Own It. I am your host, Jeff Bell, here to give you all of my opinions on all things NFL. And this is the show where I say what I mean and mean what I say. But before I get started, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in and embarking on this journey with me. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and we all need a place for us to stay sane and things to do to keep us busy. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the content I have for you here today. And definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like what you see here today. Follow me on Twitter at journalismwjeff, and check out my website for local football stories at www.journalismwjeff.com. So let's get right into our first topic of the day. The NFL met with league owners late in May to discuss the changes that will be implemented to the NFL's Rooney Rule. The original Rooney Rule states that you must interview at least one minority candidate for any head coaching position. Now you must interview at least two minority candidates for any head coaching position and one minority candidate for any coordinator position. In addition to those changes, the league has decided to propose the idea of improving the team's third-round draft pick for hiring minority coaches and GMs. Lastly, they lifted the rule that allows a team to block an assistant coach from interviewing with another team. So the question of the day is, how do we improve on the number of minority head coaches in the league? So there's a lot to unpack there. I first want to start off with the draft pick proposal. Now, originally when I heard this, and I'm pretty sure most of you probably felt the same way, I felt a little disrespected. I felt like it was pity for us or charity. And I didn't like the idea because it's only being done to help the owners. We have to incentivize owners to do the right thing, and that's not the way it should be. The American dream is we're supposed to work hard and enjoy the fruits of our labor after all our hard work. Well, us as black men can't do that if it's being handed to us only at the benefit of the person that's handing it out. So then I had to think a little deeper and really understand what the proposal was doing for teams. So a team can move up 6 slots in the third round for hiring a minority head coach and 10 slots in the third round for hiring a minority GM. Now that's significant movement in the third round. Mind you, with the type of talent in the third round, you're starting offensive linemen. Some teams even find quarterbacks. Russell Wilson was found in the third round. So that's enough to make an owner and a coach, or an owner and a team, bite on the opportunity to hire a minority coach. Secondly, you cannot fire the coach after 1 year. The coach has to be there for 2 years for the team to reap the benefits of the draft pick moving up. So I like that idea because I felt like teams would be one and done. All right, let's get this guy in here, get the benefits from it, and cut him. Now, after 2 seasons, that's enough time for us to get in there and leave a mark. So that's where I'm at with this draft pick proposal. It's unfortunate that it has to come to this, but I recognize that there are 32 owners in the league and none of them look like us. None of them. So how do we change that? And the first step in changing that is to infiltrate their sanctuary. So how do we do that? We take any opportunity we can get to get in a facility and leave our mark and be undeniably great. I always say be so undeniably great that they cannot refuse you. So you get in there year 1, you work your ass off. You get in there year 2, you work your ass off. And then year 3, they have to bring you back or another team hires you. And that's how we leave our mark. So I'm becoming more accepting of this rule and this proposal. I don't know if the owners will pass it. As of right now, they want to vote on it at a later date. But I think that this is just the way America is. We have to take advantage of the small opportunities that we get. The opportunities are slim. So we have to find a way to get in and make a difference, right? And if this is how it is, then this is how it is. And I think it can work considering the value owners and teams will get from hiring a minority coach. I think that we can see some change from it, but it's just not ideal, and I understand that. Secondly, the lifting of the banning or blocking assistant coaches to interview with other teams is a significant move. So let's say, for example, there's 2 teams in the playoffs, right? And one team makes it further than another. Another team makes it to the second round. Another team makes it to the Super Bowl, right? The team that makes it to the second round, their offensive coordinator is interviewing for a job. Meanwhile, the team that's on a run, they don't want their offensive coordinator interviewing right now. They want them focused on making the Super Bowl run. So now you have a coach that's interviewing for an open position while other coach is being blocked. And then by the time they interview that other coach, it's not an even playing field, because you might already have interviewed this one guy and know that you want him. And so the other guy might be someone just on the checklist, especially if he's African American. It'll be someone that you're just trying to meet the minimum requirements for the Rooney Rule. So I like that now it's a more comparable measure, now that coaches can interview at any time, and hopefully they get in there quick and fast and try to leave their mark so that they can be compared to other coaches instead of being held back while all these coaches are being interviewed and compared, and you're kind of forgotten about because you haven't interviewed yet because your team won't let you. And I think it was an important move for the NFL to make that change. Now, lastly, here's what I think needs to happen. For us to improve on the number of minority coaches, we have to take advantage ourselves. We have to take it into our own hands. And I say that understanding everything that's going on in the world today, and you see it on Twitter, you see it everywhere on the news. People of color are taking matters into their own hands because they don't know what else to do, and things are becoming desperate. And obviously in the NFL, it's not to this extent, but we are at a point now where there's 32 teams and only 4 coaches are minorities. It's up to those 4 coaches that are minorities to take matters into their own hands. And what do I mean by that? Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, Ron Rivera, and Brian Flores. You guys need to hire more minority staff. The more minority staff you have, the more minority staff you have in significant positions, the greater the chances are of us improving on the number of minority coaches. And it starts with quality control. I understand quality control is like the beginning. That's where a minority coach or any coach gets his footing and starts to make their way up the ladder, up the totem pole. And I think we start getting more black coaches in there and eventually get black coaches into coordinator positions and quarterback coaches positions. That's where it starts. And I just want to paint this scenario for you guys to understand what I mean by undeniably great. Let's say Mike Tomlin and Eric Bieniemy end up coaching the Steelers together. Eric Bieniemy has full control of the offense. Mike Tomlin obviously controlling the defense. 2 minority head coaches. If they went on to win the Super Bowl, beating the likes of Lamar Jackson, winning the division over Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, and winning the AFC over Pat Mahomes, and then holding up the Lombardi, maybe winning over Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and you have 2 black coaches holding up that Lombardi, Eric Bieniemy is guaranteed a job after that because he has full control of the offense. There is no, Andy Reid's the one calling the plays. No, he would have full control. You have 2 minority coaches holding up the Lombardi, and that's so undeniably great that change has to come. So now Eric Bieniemy gets hired, and then the trickle effects start to happen and domino effects start to happen. Hopefully he gets some minority coaches in significant positions, but that's where it starts. We have to take matters into our own hands. We have to get more minority coaches in significant positions, not just film guys, not just equipment managers, and starting with quality control and working up the chain to quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. That's where it starts. Even defensive passing game coordinator like Chris Richard was, that's where it starts. If we can get coaches, black minority coaches, in those significant positions and they do damage in the league and make their presence felt, that's so undeniably great, change will come. I guarantee it. And that's the only way we're going to be able to change the minds of the 32 owners. So I hope to see it soon. It'll be something we'll have to wait and see. But if you want to change, you have to take control yourself. One of the biggest offseason questions this year is where will quarterback Cam Newton land? The free agent QB was cut by the Carolina Panthers midway through the offseason as they brought in the new coach Matt Rule, and he decided that Teddy Bridgewater was going to come in and be their starter. So a lot of people have been speculating where Cam could go, and here's what I've come up with. My original thoughts was Cam could land in Jacksonville, right? They don't have a quarterback. They traded away Nick Foles. I don't think they really believe in Minshew. But then I understood that Jacksonville is tanking. Prime example, they trade away Jalen Ramsey. They trade away Nick Foles. They don't sign Yannick Ngakoue. They didn't sign Leonard Fournette to a 5th-year option, and they're riding with Minshew, who hasn't shown that he's good enough to be a starter yet. So Jacksonville's tanking, and they're probably looking and have their eyes on Trevor Lawrence. So I don't see them getting Cam, because Cam could win you 8 games, and 8-8 puts you right in the middle of the draft. So Jacksonville is out. Then a lot of people are saying New England, but if you know New England, Cam Newton is too flashy. Yeah, Jarrett Stidham is not the guy. And I don't think anybody really believes in that. And I don't think people believe that Belichick believes that. But when you think about the New England Patriots and you think about what they've had in that position for the last 20 years, to go from Tom Brady as your mainstay to Cam Newton, no. Leadership qualities are on 2 totally different levels. And that just wouldn't work. And Cam is just too flashy. The last time they had a flashy player like Cam was Randy Moss, and that did not last long. So I don't see Cam going there. And then I thought about Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh would be a good fit. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's health is questionable, but Ben is the starter, and Cam is too good to be a starter. And you don't want a guy like Cam who is good enough to be a starter on your bench, and also with his iconic brand on your bench, people will be clamoring for him to get in if Ben is not playing well, or Ben shows some signs of his elbow not being fully healthy. Now you got Cam Newton on your bench, and we've seen this plenty of times in the NFL where teams have 2 quarterbacks and fans are fighting about who should be the starter. And I don't think Steelers fans will be quick to wish away Ben, but if he's not playing well and they know how good their defense is, they went 8-8 last year, they're not going to be very patient, even though Ben has brought them 2 Super Bowls. I guarantee it. So I don't see Cam going there. But if you don't believe me when I say he's good enough to be a starter, let me just run some stats by you. So in 2018 was the last time Cam played almost a full season. He played 14 games. 2018 stats for Cam Newton, he had a 68 completion percentage, 3,300 yards, 24 TDs, and 13 picks. Now let me compare this to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, with better weapons, played 15 games in 2019, and he had a 67 completion percentage, 4,400 yards, 26 TDs, and 14 picks. So their stats are very comparable, and Matt Ryan has a lot more talent. Outside of Christian McCaffrey, Cam really had nothing. So I think Cam is still a serviceable quarterback in this league, and I think he's getting blackballed because, honestly, he's a minority quarterback, and when a minority quarterback has injuries, they will be quick to pull that card. And a prime example is, if you don't think it's because he's a minority quarterback, Joe Flacco lost his job to Drew Lock last year. Joe Flacco had nerves in his neck that were an issue, and he had surgery, and he signed with the Jets. The reason why I kind of understand that is because the Jets have their quarterback, and they signed Flacco as a backup. And Cam is too good to be a backup. Even the owners know he's too good to be a backup. I think most teams are comfortable with their starters right now. And I know people thought that he might go to the Chargers. But if you're the Chargers and you think that you have your guy in the first round of the draft with the number 6 pick in Justin Herbert, and you got to take him. So I don't see any problem with them doing so. And here's what I see, how I see things panning out for Cam. Every year there's at least 3 teams where the quarterback gets hurt for the rest of the year, and you have to call up a guy, and he has to start some games for you. It happened last year to the Jaguars with Nick Foles. It happened to the Broncos with Flacco and Drew Lock, and it happened to the Redskins. And so there will be 3 teams next year, believe it or not, that will have quarterbacks that are injured, and Cam is going to be the first one to get a call, and I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be. And when he gets that call, he will make some noise. I'm not saying he'll make the playoffs. It depends on the team scenario, but Cam is good enough to be playing in this league, and it's a shame that he's not. And all I gotta say is, Cam, work on your leadership qualities. That's probably what's really holding you back. The injury thing is too, but if you're healthy, I guarantee you'll be on the team. Just work on your leadership qualities, keep your head down, stay strong, and I promise you, be ready for that call because it is coming. So this next topic is one of my favorites, a little touchy for me as a Cowboys fan, but I got the question on my Instagram the other day. Shout out to Kiri for this question. Should the Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott if they don't make the NFC Championship game? The reason why this question was asked is because Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game in almost 25 years. And so that is the bare minimum. NFC Championship game at least. Division round is not good enough, right? And also this question is only contingent upon Dak signing the tag. Obviously, he signs a long-term deal, then this thing, he'll be here whether they make the NFC Championship game or not. So let me touch on that for a little bit. For those who are wondering what's going on with Dak's contract, just let me for a second just say, don't listen to everything you hear, and also don't act like you know everything. Because I pay attention and I understand that I don't know everything that's going on. Only thing I can tell you for sure is Dak wants a shorter deal. Cowboys want a longer deal. The reason why is the salary cap, right? So Dak is saying, I'll do 4 years so I can get done in 4 years and re-up after Mahomes gets his contract, after Watson gets his contract. I can re-up. The Cowboys are saying, no, we want you for 5 years and then we'll re-up, right? And I know you're saying, well, if they wait 5 years, then in the 6th year, they'll have to pay him more. But Dak is asking for $45 million. We saw that number, $45 million in the 5th year because the salary cap goes up every year. So kind of earn that back end compensation, right? But to answer the question is no. The Cowboys are not moving on from Dak Prescott if they don't make the NFC Championship game. I'm going to start off with the very obvious reason why is they don't have a choice. So if you look at their roster, we have 2 quarterbacks right now. And Dak and Andy Dalton, both of them on 1-year deals. So after this season, we don't have a quarterback. So guess what? Dak will get re-signed or tagged. So Dak will be here next year regardless. On top of that, if you know Jerry Jones and you know the history of Jerry Jones is a guy that makes excuses for people and players and coaches that he likes. Prime example, Romo got contract after contract, didn't win us jack. The excuse was the defense was never good enough. We had DeMarcus Ware, but we never had anything else. And Romo had to carry the team a lot of the time. And also Romo was undrafted, so I felt like they cut him a lot of slack for that. So those were Romo excuses. Then Jason Garrett. The only way you last 9 years with only 2 playoff wins is if the general manager and the owner gives you excuses. So what were Jason Garrett's excuse? Jason Garrett, there was 3 years where we were winning, getting games. Oh, the excuse is, oh, we were 1 game away from making it. We just got to improve by 1 game. So that's 3 years he got an excuse. 2 years, Romo got hurt. So Romo got hurt 2 years. Then 1 year, what happened? I'm drawing a blank, sorry. Well, 1 year, Zeke gets suspended 6 games. So there's another excuse. The other years we made the playoffs. This was the only year where the excuses were null and void. You had everything right there in front of you and you didn't make it happen. Game over. So Jason Garrett's gone. So Dak will get every excuse in the book, starting with this one. We have a new coach that hasn't coached in a year. Don't know what he has to bring to the table. Don't know if he has anything new to bring to the table. On top of that, coronavirus has shifted the entire offseason, and Dak's contract has been a big distraction as well. So Dak is going to get the excuses. The team is not going to mesh well. There may not even be fans. So Dak will get every excuse in the book. And on top of this, I think Jerry Jones is sold on Dak. The only thing is, and people are saying if he sold, he would have paid him already. He did Romo. What billionaire do you know that doesn't make the same mistake twice? Like, why would, if paying Romo didn't get us anything, why would Jerry Jones make the same mistake over and over again? So I see it as he learned from the past. Paying Romo never got me jack. I didn't win nothing with Romo. So why am I gonna pay Dak when I can pay everything around Dak and win that way? That's what I see happening. It's not that he's not sold on Dak. It's that paying the quarterback hinders teams, and it hindered the Tony Romo era. And so now we're going to try it a different way. And hopefully it works. But regardless, Dak Prescott will be here next year. He might get tagged again, and that might be his last year. But I see a contract getting done. I see Dak being here for the long haul. And I see the Cowboys making the playoffs. I got them at 10-6, so we'll see. But if they make the playoffs, like I said, this is all null and void. Even if they miss it, it's all null and void. But I appreciate the question. Dak is not going anywhere. He is the Cowboys quarterback, and the Cowboys will make some noise this year. Best believe it. All right, guys. Now for my favorite segment and the last segment of the day is my Say It On It prediction. And this is where I'll give a prediction, kind of like a bold prediction. And we'll see how it plays out. And you guys can tell me if you disagree below. So let me get right into it. My Say It On It prediction for this season is that Kyler Murray will lead the league in passing yards. I really like what the Cardinals did in the draft. They shored up the offensive line. And Kyler Murray had a sneaky good season. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I don't think people knew how good well he played because they didn't get many games on TV. So Kyler, he was top 15 in passing yards in his rookie year. And I think he has a good arm. He can get out the pocket, extend plays. And the biggest reason why he will lead the league in passing yards is because they added the best receiver in the game. Big hands, doesn't drop passes, nice, great route runner, tall, he has range. DeAndre Hopkins is the real deal, and DeAndre Hopkins is the reason why Kyler Murray will lead the league in passing. If you disagree, let me know. If not, subscribe to this video, and we'll be back for episode 2. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.